The memory verse comes from Revelation 3, verse 6, which reads, "He who has an ear, hear what the Spirit says to the churches." John was a writer of the last book of the Bible, Revelation. However, because he was a disciple of Jesus, lots of people hated him and went against him. So, these people tried to ruin his life. They did a few things to try to accomplish this. Have a trial against him, throw him into a container full of boiling oil. But in the end, God saved him from this trouble. After all that, they couldn't get rid of him. So instead, they sent him to a small prison in Patmos where dangerous prisoners were kept. Even though they did all that, he was even able to convert the prisoners into Christianity. One Sabbath, whilst he was in Patmos, he heard a voice like a trumpet. He recognized it immediately. Then he saw Jesus standing right in front of him. But instead of wearing his worn robe, he was dressed like a king of heaven. Then Jesus told John what he was going to write in the book of Revelation for all of us to see and read. There are many sevens in Revelation. 7 angels, 7 trumpets, 7 seals, and so much more. God uses 7 to present completeness in things. One of the most important of the 7 things was the matchsticks, which represent how each church was over time, between the beginning of Christianity to even now. Jesus wrote a letter for each one of these churches. The first church of the 7 is Ephesus. Jesus was kind to them for their faithfulness in their religion, and he told them so. However, what Jesus thought the problem was with this church was the deed of Nicolaitans. They were teaching that what you do here doesn't matter. All you need to do is believe in Jesus. This wasn't true. And when people say things like, all you have to do is believe in Jesus, they most likely mean that they don't want to be like Jesus, which is one of the reasons Jesus doesn't like these ideas. The second matchstick was the church of Smyrna, and sometimes it's called the persecuted church. This was a time where there were many laws against Christianity, and you would be punished severely if you didn't obey these laws. This led to horrible persecution around the time. Luckily though, the law was passed, and people were able to obey freely. The third matchstick is the church of Pergamos. This church began only a few weeks after the second matchstick finished. The problem with this church was how the religious users were using the people for power and money and didn't care about religious beliefs. This also led to the belief of worshipping on Sunday, and they told the people to forget about worshipping on Saturday. This would lead to the beginning of the Catholic Church. This also made the people at the time to be unsure what to believe and would make it harder for the people to stick to their original beliefs. The fourth matchstick was Thyatira, which represents the longest time of any of the periods. It starts AD 538 and ends at AD 5000. This was a time when most Bible truths were discarded and the pagan practices were brought into the church, which is what most of the other lessons are going to be talking about. It also caused a lot of persecution because anyone against these practices would be persecuted, and around 50 to 60 million people died because of Jesus. Jesus understood the pain these people were going through and told them to hold fast to the truth they knew. Sardis is the fifth matchstick, and it represents the Reformation. This reminds Jesus of the fig tree he cursed, because even though the people were revealing the Bible truths again, after the last church, the people would be focused on such insignificant details instead of obeying God. Philadelphia was a sixth matchstick. This one made God very happy. There was more teachings than of the second coming, and more spreading of the gospel. It was called Philadelphia because it means brotherly love. Lastly is Lacedonia, which is one of the most important of the seven, because it represents our time. It starts from 1844 to the future. Unfortunately, Jesus doesn't find anything in it, and he is just preparing us for the second coming. May God bless the reading of this word.